Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video. Of course, recapping our last 2 weeks of Dragon Ball figure news. Bro, we keep bouncing in between Sunday and Tuesday, bro. Whatever, it's just gonna be the way that things are going for this series. Today we are covering a lot of various different figure news, a bunch of different prices for stuff that has been announced, and stuff that we have talked about in previous figure news videos. Of course, as well, if you haven't checked out the last figure unboxing that I uploaded, I did a Pan SH Figure Arts video, so you should definitely go check that one out. It was a very fun video to make, and I really enjoyed that figure. But moving on to our Dragon Ball bi-weekly figure news, obviously starting off where we left off last time, we do have the weekly news for the 26th. I will say, I think I showed this in the last video where they talked about the new Dragon Stars figures, right? Including Omega Shinron and Gohan Beast. But I don't think that I showed the end part of this, which actually shows a good size comparison between these, the Dragon Stars figures, and the Limit Breaker figures, which of course is the bigger, like 1 foot tall figures. And from this particular wave, they are releasing the Vegito and Gogeta, which they're about to show in a second here, as you can see. And obviously they are very, very tall. Again, more like action figures rather than collectibles. I mean, obviously the Dragon Stars ones are really action figures. These are ones that are more like big toys, I guess. But here, right, is a good comparison of these compared to this guy sitting behind the desk. That was kind of what I wanted to show you with these bad boys. But with that being said, we do have some Ichiban Kuji news. The Ichiban Kuji that we've taken a look at in the last big figure news video, and the one that we did a recap on, obviously the Versus Omnibus Brave, we did get the prices for these figures. Now, you can pre-order them at Big Bad Toy Store, right? Bulma is $54, Frieza $49, obviously this is not including the $99. Goku as well, the $50 mark, $80 for Piccolo, and $54 for Gohan. We'll go through the pictures of these real quick, since we now have some multiple angles of these figures. And again, looking pretty good. I will say, in terms of the prices of these, right? Frieza looks really fantastic, by the way. In terms of the prices for these, I will say, obviously, if you've been watching my channel for a fat minute, you guys probably know how I feel about the modern day prices of Ichiban Kuji figures. Wow, by the way, they did an incredible job on the sculpt of the Obi belt there. You guys know that I really think that the $35, $36 mark for these figures is where these should be at. That's how it was before, and frankly, I think that's what they're worth from a monetary standpoint, with obviously maybe the bigger figures being a little bit more expensive than that, maybe more like the $50 range. That's a fantastic shot. I think that's the angle that they have in the movie that makes sense that they would capture it that way. But I will say, right, for modern day Ichiban Kuji prices, I think that this is not bad, right? Being around the $50 to $55 mark for these, right? As you can see here, Bulma, funny enough, being more expensive than Frieza and Goku. I wonder if it's because they know the collectors are going to want Bulma. Interestingly enough, though, Bulma, 8.3 inches. Obviously, Frieza's going to be a little bit of a shorty because he is short and he's also flying. But funny enough, Goku is much taller than Bulma, and obviously is cheaper than Bulma, which is kind of funny. But again, the prices are basically just whatever they decide to tack onto it. So I will say, right, even though I think that these are all very expensive, right, I do think that these are at least okay for what Ichiban Kujis have been charged for recently, right? Like the prices that they put on the figures. I don't think it's too bad. It's just, again, still too expensive for my liking. Piccolo, obviously being in the $80 range, makes sense because, of course, he is going to be a very large lad. He is, of course, 10 inches tall. And not to mention, obviously, these figures that have these sort of hyper-realistic sculpt, they tend to be a little bit more on the expensive side. So, I will say, I don't think that, unfortunately, you're going to find Piccolo for much cheaper than this, even if you're trying to get this figure from Japan, because I know that this figure is definitely going to be even more popular than the Ichiban Kuji Orange Piccolo that we already have, and I know that his market value, I think, is relatively high. So I can't imagine that this guy will be any lower than that guy, unfortunately, especially considering people love this Ikagawa, I think is his name. Please forgive me if I am saying his name wrong, but his work is highly regarded, and a lot of people really, really like it on the Japanese and English-speaking side of figure collecting, so it makes sense because, you know, every time they release a figure with his work, people go nuts. But yeah, that is the prices for these, so that's basically how I feel about it, right? For the modern prices that they attach to these, it's not bad. I still just think that it is too expensive, for me personally. By the way, all of the figures that we did take a look at in the last video, look at the little Kirby peeking in there, so cute. Obviously, the solid Edge Works Gohan, as well as Gohan Beast, the Super Saiyan Goku from the end of the Buu Saga, the Clear Rise Majin Vegeta, and the Gotenks, right? I will save these for the Twitter section in terms of looking through the images of these, because Baggy has higher quality images of what they display than on the Big Bad Toy Store. But if you want to get these bad boys, obviously they are the pretty much standard at this point price point for the prize figures, right, being around the $26.99 mark. Again, we will take a look at the images of these in a little bit, especially considering Baggy has some better colored ones, I believe, because the initial production images never have the colors correct, and we'll actually be able to see what this figure is supposed to look like with the light shining through it because it's a Clear Rise figure. Moving on past that, we do have this guy was announced, and I think that we actually did take a look at him last time. Oh yeah, there were a bunch of figures on sale too. Oh boy, we're gonna get to this. This is gonna be a very interesting piece to talk about there. But with the Gigantic Series Goku and Gohan Special Color version, you can now pre-order this guy on the Big Bad Toy Store, and you can pre-order him for a whopping $269.99. These figures are always so incredibly expensive. Unfortunately, I mean, it is just kind of how the X Plus line, the Gigantic series rolls. They're always super expensive. But to be fair, right, this figure is 18 inches tall. Obviously approaching the 2-foot mark, which is pretty insane for how big this figure is. So you can also imagine that, you know, that being said, it's obviously going to be pretty big in terms of like width, right? Girth, I guess, whatever you want to call it, right? There you go. There is a human being holding it. That gives you a... Oh, I didn't realize his boots were black. Interesting. Yeah, that gives you a pretty good idea there of the scale compared to a normal person. This figure is huge, like literally giant. I think this thing is bigger than any figure in my collection, because I'm pretty sure the tallest figure that I have is probably... Actually, no. You know what? He might not be taller than the Golden Great Ape. He might be around that same size, actually. Because I was thinking Broly, the King Cluster one, was the biggest one in my collection, but I think it's definitely the Great Ape. But yeah, he would probably be approaching that height. But crazy. I don't know. I honestly have really considered getting one of these figures because I really like this one. This is probably my favorite X Plus figure that they have ever released. It's just so adorable, bro. And obviously it's harder to find the original one now. So with the re-release, right, I don't know. I definitely like the manga-esque colors on Goku, but I definitely don't like Gohan's colors as much. I think I prefer like the yellow gi on him. But regardless, if you want to pick this figure up, obviously this is a ton of money to spend, and this line is also made by the people who make our favorite... Oh, is it really not going to show us here? These. The Sophobies, which if you have seen me talk about these bad boys before on the channel, you would know that these bad boys are very expensive, very overpriced, and tend to be sort of like marketed as more hype beast type of merch. So they are made by the same company, so it makes sense why they are a lot more expensive. However, I would think that this figure, even though I still don't think that this price is good, I guess. I don't really know what particular word to use for this, right? Even though it is still really, really expensive, I suppose you're still getting your money's worth more because obviously it's almost 2 feet tall. So take of that what you will. We did have the Dragon Ball Weekly news for July 3rd. This is where they told us about the Vegeta, right, with the 15th anniversary event. Obviously, right, not just a special case, but apparently a special box sleeve as well. Is the only other thing that is attached to this. If you guys did not see, I did make a video on this here talking about how I feel like this guy is almost a scam. We will go over him in this video. Actually, you know what? I mean, I guess you might as well just talk about it right now since we're literally discussing it at the moment. Because, obviously, when we do these figure news videos, I like to just kind of give a overview of everything that has happened recently in terms of Dragon Ball figures. This was another cool thing, though. We did have a bunch of Dragon Ball figures on sale at the Big Bad Toy Store. I don't know if they are still on sale right now. Actually, a bunch of stuff that probably is a little bit more fair price now. Yeah, it is still on sale if you would like to pick this stuff up. We have Gohan from the original superhero Ichiban Kuji, right? We have Bardock. You guys probably remember this one from way back in the day. The Super Master Stars piece, Bam Presto World Figure Coliseum. Oh my gosh, Bardock. I've actually always wanted to get this figure, and I might pick it up for this price because I really like Bardock and I like the Manga Dimensions. But yeah, tons of good figures on sale here, as you can see. Again, a lot of this stuff is still very expensive. Holy cow, that bad boy. A lot of this stuff is still very expensive, right? Like Pan from the original superhero, right? A couple of other figures. Ooh, that's a great... Hold on, that's a fantastic price for that Broly. I would highly recommend picking this guy up. I have him. I think I did a review on him a long time ago. Ooh, that's also a great price for this. If it's $31 for all of them? Holy cow, yeah, that's a fantastic price. I really love this little minifigure set. Regardless, definitely keep an eye out for figure sales that happen every once in a while. Yeah, these are some pretty good prices on some of these older figures for sure. Definitely not too bad for some of those older Ichiban Kujis. And you can see some of the prize figures are now down to $20. Even our funny Sofobi figures are even on sale right now if you would like to pick those bad boys up, as well as some of the Funko Pops too, the Yucky Trunks. Gee, I wonder why that bad boy is on sale. Even some other Dragon Ball Z merch. So yeah, definitely go ahead and look at it. Highly recommend Krillin for 16 bucks. That's a fantastic price. Definitely go check out the Big Bad Toy Store to see all of their sales and whatnot. This is not sponsored by anything. It's just a good website. Anyhow, talking about the boy Vegeta, right? Moving back to him. Obviously, if you want to get him from the Big Bad Toy Store, you can. I literally could have just done this. But he is a lot more than he is on the Big Bad Toy, or on the Big Bad Toy Store, on Premium Bandai rather, excuse me. And here's the thing, the reason why I have a problem with this figure is because they're charging $70 for him, and the only extra thing that he comes with is this 15th anniversary SH Figure Arts stand. This figure, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because, you know, if you want to hear my full thoughts on this whole thing, definitely go check out this video because I did a whole 20-minute video on just this guy. But the TLDR is that they charge a lot less for this guy back when he was initially released. We're talking like $30 or less, right? And now fans have voted on which figure to bring back for the 15th anniversary, and this Vegeta won, and that's why he is getting a re-release, and they're charging $70 for him, and all they're including extra is a little plastic stand that you could literally break in half with your bare hands. And keep in mind, right, it's not just the fact that this guy is going to be $70, right, and there's no extra parts included from the original. It's all the stuff that just came in the original version, right? All the hands, the head, the god head, as well as that type of stuff, right? They're also going to be charging you $10 shipping because it's Premium Bandai. Premium Bandai always charges $10 shipping no matter what is in your order. If one item is shipping out, they'll charge $10. If 5 items are shipping out, they'll charge $10. So if you're just getting this the day that it comes out and this is the only thing you're ordering, it's going to be $80. So definitely go check out this video again for more info. But obviously, since this is a recap video of everything that's happened the last 2 weeks, I always like to cover this type of stuff, even if I've made an individual video on it. Now, this one was a little bit of a shame, and again, this is one that I'll probably take a look at with the pictures later from Baggy, because he has a bunch of HD pictures of this on his Twitter. But Big Bad Toy Store has opened up pre-orders for the real McCoy, Goku, and Gohan. We took a look at this figure a couple of videos ago because they showed him off. I forget what event it was at. But, unfortunately, oh mama, $334.99. Oh my gosh. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a nice looking figure, and again, we'll take a look at the HD images later, because sometimes I feel like the Big Bad Toy Store images are a little bit more low quality than what Baggy puts out on his Twitter. But this guy is not that big. As you can see, 7.87 inches, at least. With the gigantic series Gohan and Goku, the figure was almost 2 feet tall, right? And it was almost $300. This guy is over that price and is only 8 inches tall. That is tiny, minuscule. It is so unfortunate because this is such a cool piece of Dragon Ball art. It's a classic. A lot of people recognize it. Obviously, it even has a free LR and Dokkan that a lot of people know this from. And I would really, really like to get this figure because I think it's super cool. And I love when they do Dragon Ball figures with obviously, right, like the characters not in their original outfits. Because obviously, you know, when they do that, it's just a little bit more of a unique figure than another Super Saiyan Goku in his normal gi. But the fact that they're charging this much, man, is just so disappointing and really, really overpriced. The other, like, kind of wild thing about this is that these real McCoy figures that are made by Mega House, that's the company who makes them, they're always pretty expensive. They're kind of known for being a little bit expensive. Not to mention the other figures here from these other franchises, right? But if we're talking about the figures from Dragon Ball, which, funny enough, there aren't actually any other ones here. Let me just search for Mega House Dragon Ball. They're kind of known for being a little bit more expensive, unfortunately, right? A lot of they don't have too many on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm assuming probably because they've been sold out for a long time. But a lot of the Mega House figures are really expensive, and unfortunately, they're really not that much, like, different than an average figure. Like, in terms of the quality is really good most of the time, but they are still overpriced a lot of the time, and I feel like this is even on a higher tier above overpriced. This is just frankly ridiculous to me. Like, this, if we're talking about scams, bro, I was calling Vegeta a scam. Holy cow, bro. This one, that is indeed something right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is pretty crazy. Oh, and the other thing that I forgot to mention with this, by the way, why this tab is even here at this point, is because the series is coming out in October 2023. So that is when these guys will be released in Japan, and that is when we'll actually get to see some pictures of these bad boys. Keep in mind as well, the reason why Big Bad Toy Store doesn't have the last one prize version of Piccolo is because that is a Japanese exclusive, and that one will not be coming overseas, but I doubt anybody's going to be too hard-pressed about Piccolo with shiny pants and golden Tims. Anyway, that is everything that we got from the Big Bad Toy Store. The top 3 here are just like pinned pieces of news from the last couple. Oh, that's right, actually, I am forgetting one. The boys from the Namek Saga, right? Ironically enough, we're just talking about some Namek Saga stuff. The Ichiban Kuji, right? Featuring all of the Namek gang, is going to be releasing very, very soon. Let's see. Finally, this week. That's correct. So the week of the 10th, right? So this week will mark the release of this particular Ichiban Kuji set. Again, we've taken a look at these guys in the past. We talked about them before, and we will actually get to see some final images of these on Baggy's Twitter, which I'm excited to share with you. But yeah, very, very cool that we will actually be finally getting these. It'll be interesting to see how much they are on the aftermarket as well. But yeah, that is it for Big Bad Toy Store, DBZFigures.com. Thank you so much, guys, for always holding it down. Always appreciate you guys giving the fantastic summaries and whatnot. Hopping over to Baggy's Twitter, unfortunately, we're met with some negativity immediately, but this is something that I did want to share because I did mention in the Ichiban Kuji video regarding this particular set that I was talking about how I kind of was thinking that the Gohan was reused, because I swear that I had seen that exact body mold before, and lo and behold, your boy was right on the money. I don't know why I didn't realize it, considering the fact that, you know, we've been looking at this Gohan for a fat minute now. But yes, the Gohan body mold for Ultimate Gohan has now been reused. I guess you would say a total of 3 times, technically 4 if you count the original one, you know what I mean? Regardless, they have used the body for 4 different figures here and repackaged it as a different figure every single time and made you pay full price for all of them. Ironically enough, this is crazy considering I am Mr. Gohan Beast himself and I love this transformation with all my heart and soul. I think this is absolutely the worst Gohan Beast figure well, out of all of them that we have, I might have to do a video talking about all of the Gohan Beast figures that we have announced up until this point. From just off the top of my head, I honestly think that this one might be the worst. I think this one's even worse than the Ichiban Kuji special beam cannon one. I was trying to think of the Japanese name. Makanko Seppo couldn't come to me in that moment. Because I think that one is even better than this one. This one, I don't know, bro. They were just not cooking with my boy. But regardless, I think, ironically enough, out of the 4 figures that have been reused with this mold, I actually think that Gohan Beast is the worst out of all of them. Probably my favorite one is the base form Gohan with the cape. I am a sucker for that look for Gohan. So I would actually definitely like to get that figure at some point if I could get it for a decent price. Unfortunately, I don't know if I ever will be able to. But thankfully I do have the SH Figuarts Gohan at least that I have the little cape and the glasses for. So if I really wanted to, I could at least have a figure of it in that regard. Ironically enough, I think out of all of these, it's weird to say, right? But I think that it works the best for the Super Saiyan one. I like the face on the Ultimate one the best. But I feel like the way that the hair is sculpted does not look like the Ultimate hair whatsoever. It looks like to me that they plan to use that head sculpt for Super Saiyan Gohan, and then they just went backwards and painted it black and decided that's going to be the first figure that they make. And then with the Super Saiyan hair, it actually looks like the hair sculpt that it should. It looks like it's sculpted properly for Super Saiyan hair. So ironically enough, I think his hair looks the best out of all of these guys. But yeah, unfortunately they have been reusing my boy. Hopefully this is the end, because obviously he doesn't have any other transformations in Superhero. So hopefully they don't reuse this body sculpt ever again, frankly, because I'm frankly sick of seeing it. And it's crazy too. The final thing I'll say about this is that it's literally the same pose for Beast and Ultimate, right? Like the exact same one. And it kind of looks like they had more shading on this one, and they took away the shading for Gohan Beast here. At least just looking at the preliminary image. Like, you can see the shading in the arms, right? Like, the muscle definition. None of that is here. It almost kind of makes him look even skinnier and scrawnier because it doesn't have that, which is kind of wild. But it's kind of funny to me that for this one, right, with the arms that are kind of in the power up pose, they have them at an equal distance here for this one, and they just kind of change the angle slightly for this one, and it doesn't even really look that great on this one. It kind of looks awkward, to be honest with you. So I don't know, kind of wild. I'm really glad that we are finally done with this guy, though. Holy cow. Starting us off here, we have the official heights for the November Dragon Ball prize figures. Gotenks being 9 centimeters, Goku 12, Vegeta 17, and Gohan 19, not including the hair. Now keep in mind, right, when we talk about these figures, you should never take the size at face value, because whenever they measure these figures, they never measure them correctly, whether it be not including the stand or not including the hair or what have you. Every single time that they decide to cook with these sizes, they never cook, and they are never correct. So take this with a grain of salt. A lot of the times they just don't include the hair for these bad boys. Moving on, though, like I was saying, we have a ton of promotional images for the upcoming prize figures. I love it when they do these super sick, solid Edge Works promo images like this. Very, very cool. I really, really like these a lot. Talking about Gohan himself, look at these awesome images, bro. I love when they do the super cool promotional pictures like this, putting the logo in there and stuff like that. We have these super high quality images of Gohan here. He looks absolutely fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely have to do a video. I think one video that I'm going to have to do coming up is like ranking every Gohan Beast figure that we have so far. That might honestly be a pretty decent idea for a series, like ranking every single like transformation of a Dragon Ball character. I think that would be pretty cool, to be honest, because man, they really cooked with that figure for sure. Goku, I will say, I do like this figure, and I understand what they're going for with his face, but something about his smile is so uncanny, bro. I can't put my finger on it, what it is, but something about his face just looks off to me. Let me know in the comments. It's got to be the mouth, right? Something about the mouth sculpt looks off to me. I really can't like tell you what exactly it is about the mouth. It just looks strange to me. It doesn't look correct. I do like what they're doing though with the base, right? Obviously supposed to be the smoke and kind of the rocks in the background. By the way, obviously having these these production images is a great example of what I'm talking about not trusting the colors of these, right? Look at the color of Goku here. This hair almost looks orange, right? The very dark orange, dark blue, right? Then we go to this image here, and it looks even a little bit lighter than that, right? Maybe kind of washed out. And then we go to this image here, and the colors look so bright, and the hair actually looks bright yellow. This is probably what the colors will look like more accurately, but that's why I always say you can never trust these production images when it comes to the finer details, because they literally gave you 3 images of the same figure, and none of them were the same for the lighting, so the product will not look like any of them, potentially, you know what I mean? So either way, Goku does look pretty good on the sculpt. It's just the mouth, bro. I don't know. It's something about that mouth. I really can't put my finger on it. We do have Vegeta. This is what I was talking about with the Clear Eyes figure. So keep in mind the whole way that the Clear Eyes line works is that you are supposed to shine a light through it, right? You are supposed to be able to put a flashlight behind it, and then the figure will glow is the effect that it has, basically. This is what the figure looks like without the light, right? You can see there that it looks a little bit more washed out, kind of. And obviously, it kind of looks like Vegeta, maybe not as much. I will say, this is the first one where the body on a figure like this has really not looked kind of translucent almost. Like, this is the first time I feel like I've seen a Clear Eyes figure, and I feel like in terms of the material that they use, because it's a little bit of a different material to be able to get the light to be able to shine through it, right, than a normal prize figure. The material doesn't look like see-through from the naked eye. Like, I feel like you wouldn't be able to tell that this is the kind of thing that you could shine a light through until you actually did it and it looks like this. I will say, when it's there, it looks fantastic, and I think I agree with Baggy here. They did a very, very good job on Vegeta's face here. This perfectly encapsulates this moment. This might be a figure I pick up. I'm not going to lie. This may be a figure that I decide to cop. Your boy definitely likes the look of this one for sure. We did have the S-Fire Sonic and Shadow here, which I was very excited about this figure, but unfortunately it's like $300 for an 8-inch figure, which is absolutely ridiculous. This was also something else that I wanted to point out. So, Maggie was getting a couple of comments that the solid Edge Works Gohan Beast was reused from the history box. If you remember from the previous video, the history box is the one that has a little bit of the aura on it, right? And obviously it is the same, like, scene from the movie where Gohan is standing on the hill and then he gives a little smirk, right? It is not, thankfully. The hairlines are a little bit different, and they have a little bit of differences in the tufts of hair. The same base mold may have been used as a basis, but it is definitely adjusted. You can tell that the sculpt on the mouth is a little bit different, right? Like the way that the teeth are in there. You can tell that obviously the head is tilted a little bit of a different way. You can see that the eyes are a little bit more like deeper into his head, I guess you would say. But yeah, you can tell that there are a lot more lines on this one, right, than there are on the history box Gohan, right? You can tell that the hair is a lot more simple, right? Definitely a little bit of sculpting detail difference, but just enough to definitely tell me that these figures are definitely not just the same one slapped on there. I mean, you can tell as well, like, look how crisp the lines are in here, and they're a lot more, like, blotchy there almost. And you can tell as well, even though the hair is very similarly sculpted, there are definitely a little bit of small details throughout as well. You can tell the obi belt, again, being sculpted in a similar way, but definitely not exactly the same. And you can tell that, again, even though the shoulders are very similar, they're not exactly the same in terms of the details. So that is pretty cool. And I do agree with this person. I think that, ironically enough, I really like the history box one because of the aura that it will have around it. But I think that the obviously looks kind of weird because we're looking at it focused. But the Solid Edge Works one, I think, is more accurate to the movie, which is really cool. And I honestly think I like the sculpt of that one better. I will probably end up getting both, to be honest with you. And I mean, it is literally the same figure twice, I guess. But I think that it definitely wins out for me in this case. By the way, this was an interesting piece of info. This was on July 27th, of course, because we're still back there. But probably about 5 weeks until the Bam Presto December prize figure pictures are expected to drop. So we will be seeing the Goku versus Vegeta, Gallic Gun, and Kaioken figures then. As well, the boy Gotenks did have some other multi-angle pictures. Or he does look pretty good from this angle. I will say something about his face is a little weird. I definitely think they did a fantastic job on the Super Saiyan 3 hair. His face, like, it's not, like, deep enough or something? I don't know. His face looks, like, too flat or not rounded enough. Something like that. I don't know. It's definitely a little bit weird, but nonetheless, I still think he looks pretty good for sure. Moving up here, we have the July Geo store numbers. Apparently, Piccolo only got 4 orders of figures to their stores, which is crazy. That means that, as you can see down here, 300 stores said nope to the very first orange Piccolo figure, which is absolutely insane. As you can see here, the boy Gohan Beast got 93 orders, and for Naruto and Sasuke, 176 each. This is what we've been talking about for videos and videos and videos, but this is what happens when you don't commercialize a movie until a year after it happens, ladies and gentlemen. You get results like this, which is absolutely insane, frankly. We have the high quality production images for these bad boys. I won't go through these like for too long because obviously, you know, we've basically been seeing them throughout the video, but obviously, you know, just kind of get them in the video. There you go. Moving on from that, we do have the factory confirmations for all of these figures. Very, very interesting, by the way. Again, I always give a little bit of a synopsis of this in each video, just in case someone's new to watching this and they haven't heard it before. Basically, all of the prize figures are either made in China or Vietnam. When Vietnam started getting the figures to make, they made them of very, very poor quality, and the sculpts ended up being horrible. They basically ruined a ton of figures, unfortunately, that had a lot of promise, but nowadays they've actually been pumping out some bangers. They have definitely done a fantastic job making a lot more of the recent stuff that they have been assigned to make, but it is very interesting because Clear Rise is obviously still being made in Vietnam. It has been made in Vietnam since basically the beginning of the line, but the Solid Edge Works line with Gohan Beast has actually switched to China for the first time. It was always a figure line that Vietnam produced rather than China. So it is very interesting to see that they are putting it over there. I guess that's a good thing because obviously taking care of this fantastic Gohan Beast figure is something that I really, really love to see. So hopefully he turns out absolutely fantastic. Definitely looking forward to see the final images of this guy. I have a feeling that this figure might end up being the premier Gohan Beast figure as well. Obviously, Ultimate Gohan will be made there too, and I'm sure he will look fantastic as well. Interesting that History Box switches back to China again, because that figure line has been made in Vietnam for a little bit, I believe now. And I think the BOS line has always been basically made in China as well. This person always notes, is it a good or bad thing for Solid Edge Works? Baggy does note that the Movie 9 Gohan finals were very poor, even though that those I believe those were made in Vietnam. So hopefully that means that these figures will be even better quality. We have the official release of the BOS Gohan Beast. Obviously, we have been waiting for this figure for quite a long time, so it is nice that we are finally getting some in-person pictures of this figure. Overall, I would say that he looks pretty decent. Unfortunately, this picture is not that great because whoever took it with the flash definitely kind of did a little bit of a funny here, but we'll get some better pictures of them a little bit later in this video. However, I will say, commenting on the sculpt of the hair, I will say it's not as good as I thought. I think the body sculpt is fine, but it's really weird that it's almost like pressed back. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like the wind and energy from the special beam cannon is kind of pushing back Gohan's hair maybe, but I feel like it's not as spiky as it should be. It looks a little bit too smooth. As well, obviously, the other thing that was kind of destined to be a little bit strange with this figure is obviously Gohan Beast's hair is a little bit more gray rather than silver, right? But obviously, the whole gimmick with the BOS line is that the figures are shiny, right? Like the hair of the figures are always shiny. That is literally what they do. I mean, you've been seeing that. Obviously, you know, we're just looking at Gotenks, and Gotenks is the same type of thing. So, you know, obviously the same thing is here with Gohan. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the hair. I'm going to be honest. I was planning on getting this figure, but I don't know. We'll have to see some more pictures here in a minute. Speaking of which, with the boy Gohan, I will say definitely a lot better than the original images showed us. And this is what I always talk about. Again, you can never trust the production images because the final figures barely ever look like how the production images do, right? As you can see, they definitely did a lot better of a job on the direction of the eyes, right? Because it was a little bit more like, I guess, supposed to be direct on forward, but it looks a lot better on the final version of the figure, I would say. It also kind of looks like the bang is a little bit longer on the final version of the figure, rather. I don't know if that's just because it's this particular angle, but I swear it looks a little bit longer. But they definitely did a good job improving his face, I think. It looks a lot better than this original image, if I do say so myself, for sure. Moving on up here a little bit more, the Clear Rise Maj Vegeta, here's just some higher quality images of those two pictures. We already did see those before. Okay. So this is some interesting stuff regarding the October Ichiban Kuji. Obviously, we like to talk about these because it tells you how rare these figures are going to end up being. And interestingly enough, the ratios for these are going to be Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo 1, Gohan, Frieza, and Bulma 2. I actually cannot believe that Bulma is 2 because the female Dragon Ball characters are always just so under commercialized, right? Like every single time we barely ever get figures of them, so it's awesome to see that Bulma is getting a figure, and I don't even think I've ever seen a Namek Bulma figure before. Maybe like a WCF figure, like a minifigure or something like that, but an Ichiban Kuji figure, certainly not. So that is very nice to see, and the reason why this is such a good thing is because the more figures there are that get shipped out to stores, right? This will mean that every time they hold an Ichiban Kuji at a store that will hold it in Japan, it will have, right, one of these two, right, and then two of each of these. So obviously that just means more out in the wild to purchase from Japan, which is awesome. And the lower prize ratios apparently are going to be 1 for the towel, that'll be the last one prize, Piccolo, I'm sure. The big metallic sheet, which is prize F, I guess that will be just 1. Huh, interesting. Okay, very interesting. G, tumblers, like a cup, will be 20. Clear keychain, H will be 24, and then towel will be I. Very interesting, the big metallic sheet only being 1, and then obviously last one prize Piccolo will be the last one prize. So very good stuff, though. That is very good to see because that will mean that there will be more Bulmas out in the wild. If you are attending this, by the way, I guess it would be have attended it at this point because this event is over, definitely send some pictures my way if you live in Australia. Funny enough, Baggy was tweeting about this too, that Bardock was on sale. This was also very interesting. As you can see, a Gohan Beast has hit 907 game stations, which is awesome. It is kind of unfortunate that he did not hit 1,000, but still obviously very good numbers for Dragon Ball. And as you can see here, right, it was probably the best chance that Dragon Ball had since October 2020. So it is a little bit unfortunate that he's not. Uta, by the way, hitting 1,400, which is crazy. And this is also Kid Uta. At least, I mean, when I watched Film Red, this was what Kid Uta looked like. I don't read One Piece, so I don't know. But regardless, though, yeah, kind of crazy. But at least he did do pretty well overall for how modern Dragon Ball figures do. We have some more cleaner production images of the boy Gotenks here. I really, really like the hair color that they chose for this, like, a lot. For Gohan, let's see, what does this say here in Japanese? Interesting. So it seems like whenever places are going to be ordering these, they're going to be getting 24 Gohan Beasts and 16 Ultimate Gohans. I mean, I suppose that makes sense, all things considered, because obviously, you know, people are going to want Gohan Beast more than they want Ultimate Gohan. And for Goku here, here are the final clean production images. Again, like, look at how different these colors are from those images that we saw before, and even from how different they are from these. Just because a bunch of these posts were spread out, I'm just going to open them in separate tabs here. We do have a bunch of images of the Gohan Beast, and something actually pretty exciting for how the boy will look. Yeah, I don't know. Something is kind of weird about, like, the curvature, I feel like, of the bang. Like, I feel like it's a little bit too curved. I don't know. Kind of weird, but nonetheless, I still think he turned out okay. I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite figure for sure. I may pick it up. It may still look a little bit better in person. I guess we will have to see on that one. But this is what I was actually pretty excited to see. As you can see here, we actually have some final images of Goku and Oob. It's kind of weird that they didn't set them up fighting each other, because that's how they're supposed to be. As you can see here is the image of Goku, obviously End of Z Goku, and he looks fantastic, if I do say so myself. And we also have the boy Oob here, which his figure also turned out really, really good. I will say, from looking at this, and obviously it's a little bit hard to see because, of course, the stands, right, are kind of far apart. But from how this looks, it kind of looks like you should be able to scooch those together and actually have them hitting each other pretty close. So that is actually very, very exciting to see. We do have some more up-close images of the BOS Gohan from the boy Omocha Headchala. Obviously, this is at the Bam Presto Lab in Japan, where they display upcoming Dragon Ball prize figures. Okay, I gotta say, bro, this picture almost just, like, completely changed my mind. I still am not really a fan of how curved the bang is, but bro, the face is literally perfect. Like, I swear that's almost exactly how he looks in the movie. They did a fantastic job on the face. Yeah, that picture right there might just be selling me, bro. Okay, hold up. They might have cooked. I was feeling a little kind of about it before, but hold on. Looking at these images. Ooh, that angle right there, bro. Ooh! Hold on, they cooked with my boy. They straight cooked, brother. Okay, hold on. Nah, he looks fantastic. And why does the hair look so much better sculpted here? Wow, that looks really good. Holy cow. Yeah, I might have to pick this up, bro. I think Omocha Headchala may have just influenced my decision a little bit here about picking up this figure. Absolutely a fire-looking Gohan Beast, 100%. I did want to open this tab as well, because I don't know if we actually ever got to look at this. This, of course, being the DXF Piccolo, which, I mean, I assume we haven't because, of course, Gohan's in the same tank as my boy. But I think he turned out pretty good. Obviously, they were going to mimic this piece of art, right? That's kind of what they're doing. Funny enough, it's, like, flip-flopped, actually. He should technically be looking the other way, but I assume it's because that's the direction that all of the previous Piccolos in this line look, so they want them to kind of be a little uniform. But nonetheless, I think he turned out pretty good. A very simplistic orange Piccolo figure, I think, for sure, right? There is not a lot of detail on our boy here. But overall, I think it's pretty good, right? This is definitely a very simple, very cheap orange Piccolo figure. Obviously, if you've been collecting the DXF line, this is definitely one that I'm sure people will probably want to pick up. I don't think that this is the best orange Piccolo figure out there, but it is definitely a solid choice, right? It is definitely a pretty good one for sure. By the way, regarding Oob and Goku, they actually did have them on display at the Bam Presto Lab, and unfortunately, as well for this one, they don't have them like actually facing each other. I assume it's so that you can get an actual better look at the figure. But it's just kind of silly. I will say it does also look like that, unfortunately, because of how much space there is and how big this is. I don't know. Maybe if you turn Goku, they'll actually be able to, like, have the foot go against the wrist with Goku and Oob there, right? But I think overall, obviously, don't mind the lighting, because the lighting is very harsh on this guy. But I think that Goku turned out really, really good. I'm very happy with the way that he looks. I will say it is a little bit less green, because isn't it like kind of a greener blue, almost a teal? This feels like almost like a aqua blue almost, but it's definitely not bad. And I'm even happier, honestly, to report that I think that the boy Oob turned out really, really great, considering, like, bro, I can't even tell you when we last got an Oob figure. It had to be a mini figure or a Gashpon figure or something. But he turned out really, really good. They even sculpted his individual toes. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, obviously it's supposed to be mimicking this particular manga panel right here. And it looks really good. They definitely did a fantastic job with the boy. Very, very cool. Definitely very excited about this. I always want, like, whenever I collect Dragon Ball figures, obviously sometimes I get duplicates of characters that I already have. But one big goal of mine would be to get, like, every single Dragon Ball character represented in some way. Maybe not necessarily every transformation, although I'm sure for, like, Goku and Vegeta, I have that pretty down pat at this point. But obviously, every Dragon Ball character would definitely include Oob. So it's nice that there is actually going to be a pretty easily accessible figure of Oob there. He definitely turned out pretty good. I think he turned out better than Goku, honestly. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I think he turned out better than Goku, which I think is a good thing. Because obviously, again, like, I mean, even though we don't get that many End of Z Gokus, obviously the Bam Presto World Figure Coliseum one that's out there, that is my holy grail that I will get someday before I die. That is the final figure that I want in my collection, or the, like, the best figure, whatever you want to call it. However, obviously that one does exist, and obviously Oob has, like, none. So very, very nice to see the boy thriving. Apparently, the next Dragon Stars batch will have Super Baby 2, which is really interesting. Ironically enough, sort of lining up with the fact that Dokkan, rather, is also going to get a Super Baby 2 soon, even though I don't think he'll be released at the same time, but just kind of funny that that's happening. So apparently the next Dragon Stars battle pack will be Super Saiyan 1 versus Super Saiyan 1, oh my gosh. Well, technically, Super Saiyan Gohan versus Gamma 1, which obviously makes sense because, of course, we literally looked at in the beginning of this video that the last battle pack was the Gamma 2 versus the base form Piccolo. So that makes sense that these guys would be up next. And as well, we do have the Ichiban Kuji promotional poster for the Planet Namek set. I do believe, oh, that's cool with the little minifigures there. I do believe that we have actually seen all the designs for the smaller prizes for 4. Obviously, we have this really cool clear stand from this nice piece of Namek art. Yeah, because I remember these kind of like pouches, right? The different stuff on them. We have these little keychains here, and obviously the different towels, right? I talked about this before. I kind of wanted the Goku one and the Goku and Frieza one. But yeah, very, very cool. It's always fun seeing these posters like this, because this is obviously what actually, like, hangs up in the store that these guys will actually be sold in. Moving on, Solid Edge Works Gohan Beast, couple more high-quality production images. Dude, holy cow. Look at that guy, bro. Oh my gosh, he just looks so good. He is him, bro. He is him. He literally looks so good. Oh my gosh. Clear Eyes, Majin Vegeta, again, just a couple of extra pictures there. Ooh, look at that really cool Broly collection. Oh my gosh, I've never seen that Broly figure before. That's crazy. Anyway, moving on up here. This is the clean production images of the boy Ultimate Gohan. Very, very cool. He also looks really nice. I mean, obviously, people are going to be going for Gohan Beast. But I actually don't have that many Ultimate Gohan figures. I definitely don't have that many in the purple gi, so this might also be a cop for me, considering this figure looks so well sculpted. I think it's just unfortunately overshadowed by Gohan Beast a little bit. And we did actually get the reveal of the tumblers that we were just talking about that was in the Ichiban Kuji that we didn't know what they look like. It is this classic piece of Z art from the Buu Saga, the Broly renders of Goku and Vegeta doing the fusion dance, and the family Kamehameha, which is really, really cool. I told you we were going to talk a little bit more about this figure rather, and some high quality production images of this guy. Again, it's really unfortunate because this guy looks absolutely fantastic, if I do say so myself, right? And the crazy thing is, you saw that they were charging that much, right, for this figure. If we open a new tab real quick, hello Rayquaza. If I open a new tab and do this yen to USD, right, first of all, the craziest thing about this, right, is that obviously for us here in the States, they're charging like 300 bucks. The conversion rate is only 200 for this guy in yen, right? Obviously a lot still, but definitely a lot, yeah. So the fact that they're charging that much for the Western audience is crazy. But we will actually see something in a little bit that is kind of wild in terms of a height comparison with this guy. But yeah, this was the previous Ryo McCoy figure, about the same size, I believe. And this guy was only 50,000 yen, which is absolutely insane, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, here is the poster for the BOS Gohan, which is pretty cool. Obviously, they got the special beam cannon behind him. Yeah, dog, I don't know, bro. I think they cooked with this guy. I think he looks really, really good, if I do say so myself. Here's an HD scan of it, by the way. And then here is the tweet that I wanted to pull up. This is crazy, right? So to put this in perspective, the 20 centimeter Real McCoy, Goku and Gohan figure is more expensive than most scale figures and the same height as the solid Edge Works Gohan Beast and will cost about 10 times as much. Ladies and gentlemen, this figure that I still think the prize figures should be 20 bucks, but at least the prize figures are affordable, right? They're $26.99. This figure will cost that much. And it will be the same height as this. At around 300 smackers. I'm speechless, bro. Like, I actually don't even know how to quantify this. Like, again, I was saying before, like, I was talking about how Vegeta is a scam, bro. This is straight up a scam. Like, this is actually a scam. Like, literally. My boy Gohan, thank God you are a prize figure. I appreciate you, dog. That's just so insane to me, dude. That these are going to be the same price, and this thing will be about 300 bucks, and Gohan will be 20. That just goes to show you the absolute greed that Bandai has under their pretty little hands nowadays when it comes to these figures. Because Bandai, unfortunately, overarchingly owns everything when it comes to Dragon Ball merchandising for figures nowadays. And just not to mention that they feel like they can just get away with this type of thing just because this is not a simple figure, right? Absolutely insane, bro. Actually a scam, straight up. I got all the rest of what we're looking at for the rest of this video all lined up here. So let's knock it out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking it out through this video. I hope you've been enjoying it. This was just something interesting that I wanted to point out that Baggy noticed. It definitely seems like, to me, right, that there is a slight subtle color difference between Gohan Beast and Piccolo, oh my gosh, bro, Ultimate Gohan, rather. It kind of seems like, to me, that Gohan's gi for Gohan Beast, if you look at this really, really carefully, his gi kind of looks a slight bit lighter, right? Although, again, when it comes to these production images, like I was just saying before, the lighting is quite literally all over the place. So who knows if that is actually how the lighting will look on the final copy. Interestingly enough, though, I do feel like the Gohan Beast has a little bit more shading than Gohan, which is kind of well, Gohan Beast and Ultimate Gohan. You know what I mean. I don't know. Just kind of interesting, honestly. With that being said, though, we did have the boy History Box Goku with a little bit more information on him. This, right, and the Solid Edge Works Gohan, it looks like Joe / Ryuku have started adopting Nakazawa's esque scuff lines. Certainly not complaining, and adds much more to the model, right? Definitely with the ears is how Baggy can tell that this is sculpted by the boy Joe. But yeah, definitely with all the different scuff marks and stuff, that was something that Nakazawa, one of my favorite figure sculptors of all time, did a lot when he sculpted figures. So it kind of makes sense that obviously not only was that something that was really appreciated, but just kind of makes the figure feel more dynamic. So it's cool that that is being included on these figures. You can see it all over the arms and on the legs of our boy. So no wonder I was kind of looking at pictures of this Gohan and kind of feeling like that his bang was a little bit too curved. Apparently, They didn't give any of the hair protection in the packaging, so the hair, with the bang at least, is likely going to get bent, which is crazy. You can see that this one, poor old boy, right, has gotten absolutely murked here, right? Look at how absolutely disgusting that looks in terms of the curvature. I will say, for some reason, this picture makes the figure look really bad. Maybe this is just a quality control thing, but I swear that one on Omacha Hedchala's website, right, it looked crazy, and now that I'm seeing a couple other like pictures of this guy from different people, this definitely doesn't look as good as that one did. Maybe that one was just the one that they cooked with, I don't know. But like, this looks like that the hair is almost coming off of Gohan's head, and this one looks like there's like chunky paint on the edge of that. This guy is a mixed bag, ladies and gentlemen. I might have to get my hands on this guy myself to see, but that bang curl is, ooh, that's bad. That's really bad. Moving on from that, we did have some final Ichiban Kuji photos of the battle on Planet Namek Ichiban Kuji. I think Gohan and Frieza turned out fantastic. Obviously, this is the last prize version, which of course is the one with Goku sporting the more manga-esque look, and Frieza and Goku here, obviously sporting the more anime look. The unfortunate thing about this, I will say, is that Frieza really does not have that much of a difference. I guess it's more like brighter purple there, and the purple here is more like darker. I don't know. There's really not that much of a difference on him, to be honest with you. Obviously, I mean, what else would you change for that to make it look more manga-esque? I mean, Frieza's literally purple and white. Like, you know, what are they going to do? But these figures actually turned out really good. This is definitely a Ichiban Kuji figure that I will actually chase. There have not been that many Ichiban Kuji figures in recent time, besides like all the superhero stuff, that I've really been like, holy cow, I need to get my hands on that. But by golly, this one is definitely one that I would love, because this is such an iconic scene from Dragon Ball Z, of course. And I mean, dude, look at it. It looks fantastic. Frieza also turned out pretty good. Definitely not the biggest fan of second form Frieza, but I mean, this figure definitely isn't too bad. I think the sculpt work is fairly nice. Something about his eyes I feel like a little bit too small, though. Third form Frieza, ironically enough, I feel like this figure actually looks perfect. Like, obviously, in terms of the sculpt, there could always be a little bit more detail on him, but I mean, in terms of like overall anime likeness, bro, spot on. This is like literally when I think third form Frieza, this is the image that comes to mind. So they did a very good job on him. And Gohan and Krillin also look really, really good. Very much so like their manga counterparts from this particular scene. It's very nice to see that they did a really good job with this set, because obviously when we look at the finals for some Ichiban Kuji figures, they end up looking awful, right? Like the Goku and Gohan in the Saiyan armor that were the Ichiban Kuji versions, right? Those guys ended up looking terrible in the final version. So this whole set actually looks really good, which is awesome to see. You actually love to see it. Here's some more images of the boy Orange Piccolo. Again, very, very simple Orange Piccolo figure, but he definitely looks very, very good. And you can see on the back, they did actually paint the logo for the back of his gi, which is really, really cool. Apparently, though, I will say this is a little bit unfortunate. It does look like that with Piccolo, it is going to be a similar thing where the antenna for my man, right, will unfortunately be getting a little bit bent in the box because there isn't any proper protection for those bad boys. So definitely be careful. I mean, I don't know how you would be, I guess, but if you get this guy out of the box and he's broken, either you might have to contact the manufacturer, or you might have to glue those antennas back on. Hopefully they do not get broken, though. That's a bit of a shame, though, that there's no proper protection on those bad boys. Moving on from that, though, the official RRP for the Goku and Gohan is $332.99. I think the Big Bad Toy Store is charging like $1 more than that. So ridiculous, dude. Absolutely ridiculous. Here's the 4K images of this. Again, you can't even trust these images because the colors look so much more washed out here. And it's so unfortunate, man, because this looks like such a good figure, but that price is just impossible to justify. Here is the multi-angles for these guys. Obviously, we did kind of look at them before, but this is just all of them, you know, like put here, right? As you can see, we have Goku and Frieza, we have Bulma, and then of course we have Orange Piccolo. Funny enough, I guess Baggy omitted Gohan because he's just that stinky. Rest in peace, my boy. We saw him in the beginning of this video anyway. Okay, last couple things here. First of all, funny enough, Baggy talked about this. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. The fact that every figure that is sculpted by the man who does the more like realistic, hyper-realistic Dragon Ball sculpts, right? Irakura, I'm sure I'm butchering that. I apologize. But regardless, it is literally referred to as his tax. Not that any figure with him like has a specific tax or anything. It's just that his figures always sell more on the secondhand market because, you know, people love his sculpts. Moving on from that, we did have a couple more pictures of Goku and my boy Oob. Definitely looking really, really nice here. Obviously, I'm just kind of going through them quick because, of course, we've seen them already. We have some high-quality multi-angles of all of these figures right here. Goku looking... Ooh, es el muy spicy, baby. Oh, my gosh. He's looking great. I don't know. I might consider it, bro. I already have that Super Saiyan Goku technically because I have the Master Stars Peace version of him. But by golly, bro, I might. Anyhow, though, yeah. Very, very nice sculpt on Bulma as well. And here is the boy Frieza, again, sculpted fantastically. I might actually pick this one up as well, because I do not have a single full plot Frieza. And I would love this pose as well. And that is actually the end of our Dragon Ball news for this bi-weekly session. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what was your favorite figure out of the bunch. I am definitely very, very excited to see the final images of this Ichiban Kuji. I really hope that this Goku and Frieza and Bulma really, really stay as good as they look on these images here, right? Obviously, we always talk about with these figures, especially for Ichiban Kuji, it's hit or miss. Either they look absolutely fantastic in the final version, or they look like absolute garbage. So I'm really, really hoping that these guys turn out as good as they look, especially Bulma, considering we never, ever get any Bulma figures. So let me know what figure you guys are the most excited for in the comment section below. After looking at all these images, I am very curious when I finally get the BOS Gohan Beast in my hands. And I gotta tell you, I am very, very curious to see how the final images of the solid Edge Works Gohan Beast will look, because by golly, that man just looks so fantastic. I think he is going to be the Gohan Beast figure, if I do say so myself. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Just kidding. We have one more thing to look at. I forgot that I really wanted to include this in this video, and I almost forgot about it because nobody on my two things that I usually cover it, but I did see this during this week, and I definitely wanted to throw it in this video. Obviously, I did a video on this and talked about it in the Figure News Recap. Of course, this is the SDCC exclusive figures that will be showcased at SDCC, and obviously you can pick them up from there. We have the prices for these bad boys. I'm sure that there were people who were wondering how expensive they were actually going to be. And we have the prices for all 5 of the figure. Wait, 4 of the figures? Of course, starting off with Gohan here, he is going to run you around $90. Now, I will say, right, obviously we've taken a look at this guy and all of the accessories and stuff like that he comes with in previous videos. And I don't know, man. I think that this price is okay, right? They definitely could have charged $120 for this, if I'm being honest. Like, I feel like they absolutely could have charged a little bit more money for this thing. I'm glad they didn't, obviously. But I feel like $90 isn't too bad. The con exclusive figures are always a little bit more expensive because of the alternate color scheme. But the fact that you are literally getting 2 figures in this, right? Obviously, you're getting Goku in the Ghost version, I guess we'll call him. And of course, the Gohan, right? I think this is a fair price. I mean, it's like $50 for Goku and $40 for Gohan is kind of how you could think about this, right? I don't think that's too bad, especially considering, again, the whole thing that it's a con exclusive and the special color version and whatnot. It could definitely be less, but I think it's okay. It's definitely not bad. When we're talking the Raditz and Gohan, I think this one is a little bit harder to justify, especially considering we now have, what, 3 versions, including this guy of the SH Figure Arts Raditz. $85 just seems like a pretty big ask. Again, it is a color exclusive version, but by golly, that is quite a bit of a price tag on our boy here. Unfortunately, obviously he does come with a little Gohan, but I still think personally that that is kind of a lot. As well for Majin Vegeta, he is going to be 75. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I think the craziest thing, honestly, to think about with this bad boy right here, right, is not the fact that he pretty much, I'll just say I think he's overpriced, right? I mean, he does come with the very cool key background, right? The aura that actually has the electricity attached to it. Obviously, he is the special color version, so of course there's going to be a little bit more expenses on all of that. But I gotta tell you, bro, I think the craziest thing about all this is that the fact that he's 75, and I know I keep bringing him up, but that Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, right, that I talked about in this video, that's $70, is $70, and he's literally just a re-release of the original Vegeta with a stupid plastic stand, and the special SDCC Majin Vegeta with a key aura is $75. That price comparison for me is just honestly such a kick. Honestly. Crazy. And not the good kind. For Gogeta, he is $90, which honestly, kind of shocked. Because I believe if we pop back over to Premium Bandai, I think that the original version of him was around that price. If we go to no longer available... Okay, so he was $78, right, for the original one. Now, we all know that, unfortunately, the sculpt for this figure is absolute garbage in the final version. The production images here look fine, but when people actually opened it up, it literally looked like a bootleg, unfortunately, and I would know because I was one of the suckers who bought it. But I digress. The fact that it is only $12 more for the special color version, I think that's actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I mean, granted, I still think the figure should maybe be a little bit less expensive in the first place, but honestly, I think that this is a W overall. And then, well, Jiraiya is obviously not a Dragon Ball figure. But yeah, so in terms of our prices here, I really think that Raditz is the only one who's like kind of egregious in terms of the price. I think that Gohan is pretty decent for the price considering all the stuff that you get with him. I mean, you also get the Kamehameha effect too. I think that Majin Vegeta is okay, right? I still feel like this should maybe be more like $60 or $55 or something like that. But obviously, if they're going to charge you $70 for Blue Vegeta, I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, bro. I'm really salty about it because I was actually so excited for that figure. You know, if they're going to be charging $70 for that guy, obviously it makes sense that they're going to be charging even more for this guy, especially if he is a exclusive to SDCC. But yeah, now that is actually everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.